Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Winners, losers from 4-team blockbuster trade sending Jimmy Butler to Warriors. Both of those men probably would have preferred to team up with Kevin Durant, and both their organizations tried to make that happen, but in the end they are together. And this could work. Jimmy Butler will be traded to the Golden State Warriors as the blockbusters keep on coming in what has been one of the wildest NBA trade deadlines ever. Let's look at the winners and losers from another mind-blowing trade around the NBA, starting with how the trade itself shakes out. Golden State receives Jimmy Butler. Miami receives Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker. Warriors 2025 first-round pick, top 10 protected, or it becomes 2026 top 10 protected. It likely conveys this June. Detroit receives Lindy Waters 3, Josh Richardson. There will be a draft pick attached to this as well. Utah receives Dennis Schroeder, 2031 second round pick. At the start of last offseason, Jimmy Butler was looking for a contract extension with the Heat, and not only did Pat Riley not give it to him, Riley said publicly, "That's a big decision on our part to commit those kinds of resources unless you have somebody who's going to be there and available every single night." That's the truth. Shots fired. Based on Butler's history in Minnesota and Philadelphia, Riley should have realized what was coming and traded Butler over the summer. He did not. The result was a predictable, messy soap opera once the season got rolling, as Butler eventually tried to force his way to Phoenix, in part because who doesn't want to play with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but also because Suns owner Matt Ishbia said he would pay Butler. The plan might have worked if it had not been for the Bradley Beal roadblock. Now Butler is headed to the Bay Area and will opt out of his $52.4 million for next season to sign a 2-year, $121 million extension with the Heat. Butler got the payday he wanted, and he can spend the next couple of seasons in the Bay Area listening to tech brothers telling him where he should invest that money, while Butler just wants to open a West Coast outlet of Big Face Coffee. The Warriors have been searching for a star player to put next to Stephen Curry and give him at least a puncher's chance at one more ring. With Kevin Durant refusing to reunite with Curry and Draymond Green in the Bay, landing Butler was the best option available. Butler is not the player he was 10 years ago, or even in 2023, but he can lift up the Warriors' perimeter defense, knock down some threes, and provide secondary shot creation, all things the Warriors desperately need more of. Even better, playoff Jimmy next to playoff Curry is a tough out, as long as the Warriors can climb up into the playoffs. Why Wiggins' 5-year Warriors tenure deserves its flowers. He arrived to the Warriors labeled as a player who never reached his potential as a former number 1 overall draft pick, and left as someone who always should be revered by the fan base, the same way he was by teammates, coaches, and the entire locker room. Headlines will be centered around the Warriors and Miami Heat reportedly agreeing to a trade Wednesday that brings Jimmy Butler to Golden State, but Andrew Wiggins will not be forgotten. The human element of the NBA trade deadline can be cruel. Wiggins was on the Delta Center floor getting shots up before the Warriors were set to play the Utah Jazz, when word began spreading of his new reality. Wiggins was about to be on the move again. Warriors assistant coach Jacob Rubin wrapped his arms around Wiggins, hugging his now former player. Soon after, Warriors players warming up were sent back to the locker room. Media members were kicked out of their allotted locker room time, and coach Steve Kerr addressed a group that had to say goodbye to 4 players they've grown close with, some longer than others. Wiggs just had a baby boy last week, a dejected Kerr told reporters after the Warriors crumbled in the final 3 minutes and lost to the Jazz, 131-128. Wiggs is one of my favorite players I've ever coached. Just a beautiful soul. Just a wonderful human being. We don't hang that banner in 22 without him. Everything he brings every single day, the laughter, the smile, the joy, just a wonderful human being. I'm going to miss him. Not one for many words and long answers at the podium, Wiggins was loved the moment he became a Warrior. He wasn't low maintenance, he was no maintenance. His smile seemed to have an extra gleam and a little more shine than anybody else. And with the respect Wiggins earned and gave, the Warriors stuck by him. Through him wrestling with his vaccination status ahead of what became Wiggins' first NBA All-Star season and first time being able to call himself a champion. Through him missing chunks of games due to personal reasons that centered around his now late father. Coaches loved him. Veteran players loved him. Young players loved him. There were tears from the Warriors in the Jazz's visiting locker room, and taking Wiggins away from the team had to be a major reason why. Very sad moment, obviously. Just an hour before tip-off, we lost 4 of our brothers, Podziemski told Bob Fitzgerald and Kalina Azubike on the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast. So it was sad. There were some tears, but at the end of the day, we have to do our job. We're just doing it for them. Wiggins also was playing some of the best basketball of his career. He has scored 20 or more points 17 times this season, and 7 came in January. For the month, Wiggins averaged 19.3 points and 5.2 rebounds per game as Jonathan Kuminga missed all but 2 games. To open February, Wiggins dropped 25 points and was a plus 15 in a 5-point win against the Orlando Magic on Monday night. All the memories of two-way Wiggins in the Warriors' 2022 NBA playoff run forever will live in the lore of Golden State. His emphatic dunk on Luka Doncic in the Western Conference Finals? Play it on repeat. Highlights of him locking up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown while soaring for rebounds and scoring points whenever they were needed in the NBA Finals? Never forget. Warriors trade idea pairs Steph Curry with $194 million star. Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors have been one of the more inconsistent teams in the league, sitting at 25-24 heading into Wednesday night's game against the Utah Jazz. With Thursday's trade deadline fast approaching, the Warriors are reportedly seeking any star available to pair with Curry. They have a clear championship goal in mind, with Curry approaching the tail end of his career. Many reports have indicated that one player the Warriors have in mind is Phoenix Suns forward Kevin Durant, which would reunite him with his former team. Although those same reports have mentioned Durant's lack of interest in returning to the Bay Area, the Warriors may choose to go after him anyway. Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes believes he has a solid deal in place for the Warriors to pull the trigger on a trade for Durant, who signed a 4-year, $194 million contract before the 2022-23 season. Golden State would send Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney, Gary Payton II, a 2026 first-round pick and a 2028 first-round pick, only receiving the 2-time NBA champion in return. The Warriors get to take one more crack at being relevant with a familiar face, Hughes wrote. And as an added bonus for Durant, he rides into town as a potential savior, a satisfying final chapter for someone who'd probably love to ditch the bandwagon-jumping reputation he earned last time around. Curry, Durant and Draymond Green played together for Golden State from 2016 to 19, bringing the franchise 2 titles. Although the Warriors would give up a lot of depth in this proposed trade, reuniting that trio could potentially put them in title contention once again. Durant, 36, is still playing at a high level despite his team's poor record. In 39 games played, the former Texas Longhorns star has averaged 26.9 points, good for 5th in the NBA, along with 6.1 rebounds and 4.2 assists per game. With the Suns back in action for the final time before the trade deadline on Wednesday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Durant has been ruled out with a left ankle sprain. Could we have already seen his final game with Phoenix? And you fan? What do you think of the Kevin Durant situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.